Hello, my name is Mariana and this is a reading today for Cancer. So Cancer, I'm doing your reading as usual with my own tarot deck, so the cards that you'll see are from this deck. And Cancer, I have good news for you. From the cards that I'm seeing here, I feel like you're going through a period of ascension, or like coming from a phase of hardship and a lot of work, and maybe even like trying to fight things that were bringing you down, um, and feeling a little bit beaten or deteriorating, and feeling like, the harder you try to fight it, it's like the higher your hopes were getting. I don't know if this is something that makes sense right now, but this is what I'm seeing here is like the worst is over, right? That is the first and clearest message that is here in your reading. The worst is over. Now you're moving towards a calmer setting, a gentle sea. That is interesting because I feel like you are arriving in a place where you feel like you're being very welcomed. It's like there is people there happy that you are coming home, essentially, because I'm seeing you coming from overseas and arriving in this port, right? So it's like a safe harbor in a sense. And I feel like it's like you are retelling, or like telling to those who are there to greet you, the fights that you were involved in, or like the hardship that you went through to arrive there, right? Although I feel like you are arriving safe and sound, I feel like it's been a long and intense period of incredible change, because I feel like somehow it's almost like you're recovering from an intense transformation, right? If you've seen the thumbnail, you know that I'm talking about the death card that is ending this part of your reading. But until we get there, let's talk about the first card. So this Six of Swords is opening up your reading, Cancer. And this card came through with the message of the worst is over, right? It's like the hardship, the challenges, the difficulties, all of the things that were not going in your favor are now past you. It's like you have successfully overcome it. And I don't want to say that you were unharmed, because I feel like it's been tough, okay? It's been tough. But finally it's over, and you can celebrate, actually, because the next card is another six, the Six of Wands, right? Traditionally, this is a card of victory, of receiving acknowledgement and applause and recognition for your victory, for your success. Although with these two cards, these two sixes, in order to keep like this bare minimum balanced state for you, Cancer, I feel like it's been a hell of a work, right? You have put in a lot of work. It's like you have been in a battle that was demanding a lot of you. Maybe we're talking about like a mental battle, but I feel like you are on the other side of it now. It's almost like you are on this journey back home, right? Back to yourself, back to your senses, back to where you feel again balanced without having to do like you know having to just do so much to achieve the minimum, right? So I feel like somehow this harmony, this tranquility actually comes with the sense of like a relief, right? It's like you can see the safe harbor from where you are. You are still like on your journey there. You haven't arrived, although the Five of Pentacles is talking about this arrival. So I feel like these two cards in the beginning here is like before you see the harbor itself, meaning the safe port, right? Where you're going to land, where you're going to arrive, where you're going to come out of this, you know, turbulent water and into a more stable land, right? But the first thing that you see or that you sense, it's like the gathering of energetics. It's almost like you can see the energy field of the people that are there waiting for you, that they are there greeting you, they want to applaud you. It's like they are they have their own expectations of just wanting to see how you overcame so much, right? It's like you went into something that was like a true challenge, right? It's like they acknowledge that, because it's, in a sense, it's almost like staying there with the six. It's like holding the six. You were the one who went out into the seas, and you were holding this balance no matter how hard it got, because somehow the people in this, you know, in land or in this safe harbor, they were sustaining that balance for you, energetically speaking, right? And so they are there holding the same space for you to arrive back home after this long and maybe stressful and painful journey, right? So now it's all about relaxing. It's like now you can breathe again, right? It's almost like in this journey back home, you knew that the worst was over, but still there were a few meters or a few kilometers so before you could really land, right? Before you could really breathe out, right? And be celebrated, even like be hugged and be embraced and be carried by those who are there celebrating your coming back home, right? So in the middle of this path, remember, it's like before you arrive, it's like you are, it's almost like you are in that in-between state where you're not fully awake, you're not fully asleep, right? It's almost like now that the tension is gone, now that the challenges are not there forefront attacking you, right? So you can afford to just relax a bit and be taken home, in a sense. I feel like you are, that's the reason why I was talking about retelling your story, because I feel like on your way back home, you are remembering or you are reliving what you have just experienced with the Nine of Swords. So you are on your way home. Now you can relax. The danger is no longer there, but the memory of it is, right? And it is going with you, in a sense. So it's like the hardest points or the darkest hours, it's like those are going to stay with you, right? It's like you're not going to forget it easily, even though now you can relax because you arrived home, right? You arrived in the arms of people who just want to care for you, want to take care of your health, of your well-being, of, I don't know, just really showing their affection for you, right? And how they were holding that really high frequency. So that is the reason that now they can celebrate with you, right? I don't know if I'm expressing it fully, but it's like there's a lot of joy coming from this Six of Wands. So I feel like when you were going through a rough period out there with nobody there by your side, right? It's like you could only count on you, Cancer. It's like the energetic joy that these ones were sending out to you, it's like you were receiving it, right? Through the ethers, through the air, through the spiritual world, right? And so this is what helps you to, in a sense, like it's like you are a creature that has a very a very good memory, let's put it that way, right? It's like you remember a lot. You remember because things, well, things are so embedded into your cells through the emotions, through the waters. And if we're talking, you know, about all of this metaphor of going out into the seas, out into the unknown waters, right? To explore something that could have been like very sensitive, right? After the Nine of Swords, we have another nine, but it's the Nine of Cups, the Nine of Waters. That is the reason why I feel like you're not going to, even though you arrived in a safe place, right? This is talking about changing the water environment for a more stable, more solid earth realm, right? So the memory that you are taking back with you, it's inside your, it's like, you know, we are 70% water, right? If I'm not wrong. So all of your experiences, the hardest ones, I want to say, they were significantly like, they penetrated the waters of your body, the water in your cells, right? But that is exactly what was keeping you alive in a sense, right? Because the nine of cups here is talking about the harder it got, the higher your hopes got as well. So it's almost like when you were, you know, in the most difficult moments, when you were feeling all by yourself, having to deal with very hard things, you were doing so in the most conscious way, right? It's like you were feeling everything so deeply that it's like it's almost like you were doing this alchemy, right? You were transforming all of the things that could just hinder you and harm you and bring you down and be this negative mark in your history, right? In your memory, and transform it into something made of love, made of compassion and forgiveness, right? It was all serving as like a renewal water. It's like you were constantly refreshing the waters. You were constantly cleansing the waters. It's like the harder it got, the higher your hopes were too. It's like you were developing this incredible ability to self-cleanse in the darkest hours, Cancer. So I want to say this is something that is incredible, right? It's like you are now purifying yourself as you go, as you experience, you know, the toughest experiences ever, right? It's like you are using that as the thing to oxygenate your cells, right? So it's really interesting because it's now the air mixed up with the water, right? Something that, you know, it doesn't really mix well, and you are capable of mixing these two things, these two elements well, because because you are imbuing it with love, with forgiveness, it's like there is no sorrow, there is no pity, there is no sadness, right? It's like there is only hope, there is only faith, there is only like even more loving wishes and desires and expectations and hopes for your future, right? Maybe because you knew that you had a home to go back to where people that really love and, you know, cheer for you are there to celebrate your return, right? So this is really, really gorgeous. And ending here with these two cards, I feel like this is what you were doing and maybe not even realizing. So we have the Knight of Swords and the Death card. Remember when I was talking in the beginning here of resuscitation, right? I don't know if that's the right way to pronounce it, but it's like coming back to life, right? I feel like what you were doing, it's like this is the contrast between the Nine of Swords and the Nine of Cups. The more you were buried under darkness, it's like you found even strongest love to help unbury you, because these two cards are talking about you having a very clear mind that if you succumb, if you what is the word, if you let the darkness just win, in a sense, right? It's like you knew that you were, it's like you were going to stay in this darkness forever. It's like it would be something irreversible. It's like there would be no coming back home, essentially, right? It's like there would only be the death part of this death card, not the rebirth. And I feel like you knew exactly that. Well, maybe that was the fight that we're talking about, right? It's like you were fighting your mind with your heart. It's like you would not succumbing, I feel like that's the word. You would not let this, maybe it's a mindless approach, or it's a ego approach, a selfish approach, maybe. It's not, no, it's not selfish. It's more like an internal battle, I feel like, where you knew that the only way to fight against this powerful Nine of Swords was with the Nine of Cups, the element that you know very well, right? But being in the middle of the sea, in the middle of the ocean with plenty of water, it's like you can only, it's like you could get lost in it. You could get lost in all of the negative thoughts or all of the what ifs that could go wrong, right? And you chose to fight it with love and hope and faith that you would come out of this by your own doing, I want to say. It's like the, you know, I'm seeing the Nine of Swords as layers and layers and layers of darkness, right? Trying to bury you even deeper into the death card. But with your clear knowing, with your, it's almost like you knew that you had to, it's almost like keep yourself awake despite your exhaustion, right? Because there was work to be done, in a sense that this Nine of Swords would not take a moment to rest, right? It's like that sort of negative influence of the Nine of Swords that could really put you in this state of not even finding the strength to come out of it, right? But you knew better. It's like you knew exactly how to fight it, and you did so. And this is what these two cards are talking about. This is the reason why you are starting with the Six of Swords. It's like you managed to transform the death moment and flip it to be, you know, not only the rebirth, because it's more than that. It's more like it's like fighting to stay alive, in a sense. And I know that that can sound a little bit too drastic, but like the worst is over. Like you did it, Cancer. So you are, it's like you are more alive than ever, I want to say. So this is gorgeous. I'm going to pull more cards for you, Cancer, and also I'm going to pull from the astrological runes in the extended reading. So if you want to join me there, I'll be happy to see you. If not, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.